especially about this motherfucker. All right.
John to the Izzo and to the SA. Not S-A-S-N, but...
SN?
Yeah.
What's SN?
O-W, snow,
Oh.
bitch. Make it snow. Heyo, hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Brotherhood Without Manners, your favorite full spoiler reread podcast of George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire series, starting with a Game of Thrones. I'm Zach. As always, this is my co-host Nate. He also happens to be my by-blood brother.
Blood.
Admitted it on microphone.
Jeez Louise.
Holy shit.
That makes it more real than the tattoos we have.
We do have tattoos. So the first part was a little doofy, but yeah, we do have tattoos, and they're sick. Anyway,
they're all right.
We talk Game of Thrones here, and if you're new, welcome. Read along with us. It's a great book series.
Especially, though, be warned, because we are full spoiler. We said it in the
yeah, we'll ruin a ton of shit for you.
We did it before, early
episodes,
done it before,
remember? We just,
Snape kills Dumbledore.
There
it is. Again,
spoiler.
That's what we do here.
Even for HP.
But anyway, we focus
Lovecraft.
Game of Thrones.
We focus Game of Thrones. I am not pleased, Ned. I'm very pleased, Ned, actually. So, if you joined us last week, thank you for joining us last week. And we were reading Eddard 13. And Ned Stark is having a rough time in King's Landing. His buddy just came back from his hunt all roughed up, gored up.
And he's not taking anybody's advice.
And
he's not following any good ideas.
Yeah, no. Renly came to him, saying, let's take on Cersei. Ned denied it. He ended up seeking out Littlefinger at the end of the day and wanted the gold cloaks, and Littlefinger promised that they would be his, which, full spoiler, we know
liar.
Littlefinger is just setting him up. So, this week's chapter is John 6, and last time...
It's been a while since we visited, because there's been a lot of Ned visits. Recently, there's a Dany chapter, but way back when we visited John last at the Wall, he was convincing Maester Aemon that they forgot one of the trainees that needs to be promoted to a Man of the Night's Watch, and that being Samwell Tarly, because he was going to die in training from Sir Alliser
And
Thorne.
he does have his uses. He can read, he can write, he can help Aemon out like a boss. Yeah. So why kill him when we can make use of him?
And so, real quick, I wanted to do it before we get into this week's chapter. We got an email in from Sid. And he was just congratulating us with the London airwave stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And so, thanks for that. We appreciate the write-in, Sid.
Yeah, we'll be letting you guys know as soon as we get some more info on that. They're still in the preparation process, which is A-okay. We are patiently waiting, but we're very excited. So
we'll let you know when we know.
Definitely.
You'll know.
So jumping in to John up at the Wall. John is breaking his fast as Samwell Tarly comes in and plops himself down on the bench next to him.
Speaking of breaking fast, this guy, he has never gone fast ever.
Sam?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, rude.
Fast is broken on him.
That's rude.
He only has slow. He sits down, and he is excited as shit. He immediately jumps into telling John that they summoned me to the Sept. I'm going to be made a Man of the Night's Watch also. And he has no idea that John coordinated it all.
John's playing it coy and being like, truly? Really? Oh, really? No. And so Sam says that, yes, I'm to assist Maester Aemon with the library and the birds. He needs someone who can read and write letters. And John says, you'll do well at that. And so they...
I like that Sam is like, should we get going? Are you done eating?
Yeah,
he's worried that they're going to change their mind before he can get there.
Yeah, somebody made a mistake. So says the day is warm and sunny as they cross the courtyard, and rivulets of water are trickling down the wall, making it sparkle and shine. Which, I don't know, I like descriptions of the wall. They're cool. They're cool.
They're crystally, shiny, reflecty.
So inside the Sept, it's all gross, and there's light shining in, and I don't know why it's gross, but it just, I don't know, it feels like it having
just because it's a church? Jeez Louise, hate on religion. Dang.
Shit.
So I wanted to point out that I like how Sam it was quoted as, bouncy across the courtyard.
Yeah.
Like, where he's excited that he's not going to die.
Too bad he's not fucking bouncy in his first ever POV chapter where he's sobbing his way through the fucking snow.
Hey, man.
Slowly.
Get off his back. He has enough trouble carrying his own weight.
Anyway, what I was trying to say, essentially, why I think this is gross, is it reminds me of Robert's sick room with the light shining in, kind of casting a glow,
with the sept having the incense.
He's burning the censer.
Yeah.
And so inside, when they get inside, Pip's mouth drops open when he sees Sam. They're all shocked as shit.
Yeah, all of his friends. Nobody's saying anything, but they don't know. They're like, what the fuck's going on?
So yeah, Septon Celadar is swinging a censer, filling the air with a fragrant incense that reminds John of Lady Stark's little sept back at Winterfell. And we learned that Septon Celadar is mostly drunk, but for this he managed to sober up.
Well, that's good he sobers up.
Which is like the first time John's ever seen him sober.
Yeah.
My
Which
kind of dude.
Probably means that they're some of the only ones that have been made members of the Night's Watch.
Yeah,
if he sobers up for these types of things.
Yeah.
And so with all that, the boys are there. The high officers all arrive as a group, and all the members that are there for a reason. And so it starts with Aemon comes walking in, and he's being helped with
this is
by
like
Clytus.
a montage scene in a movie where like they all come in with like some baller music and like throwing on shades. Like, as I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Fucking yeah, Aemon comes in leaning on Clytus. Sir Alistair comes in
looking cunty.
Yeah.
And followed by the bear.
The old bear. Lord Commander Mormont, looking regal as fuck with his bear clasp.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. So then behind them, the senior members of the three orders, meaning Bowen Marsh, Lord of Stewards, Othel Yarwick, the first builder, and Sir Jeremy Riker, who was filling in as first ranger while Uncle Ben was lost out in the haunted forest. He's lost.
So Mormont goes up and stands before the altar, and he gives this speech. Which
so I wrote down the first paragraph because I like that part. He says, "You came to us outlaws, poachers, rapers, debtors, killers, and thieves. You came to us children. You came to us alone, in chains, with neither friends nor honor. You came to us rich, and you came to us poor. Some of you bear the names of proud houses. Others have only bastards' names, or no names at all. It makes no matter. All that is past now. On the wall, we are all one house." And
boop, 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 boop.
That, I think, is something that John is going to take to heart. That specifically. Like, more so than just the vows, but what Lord Commander says there. That, like, they're there for each other.
Yeah.
And so, like, when he gets told by... what's his face that he kills there to join the wildlings?
The half hand.
Thank you, the half hand, Corrin half hand. Get off my back, man. It's fuck you. That's what I'm saying there.
Is your sword sharp, Jon Snow?
I think he keeps that kind of thing in mind. That I'm doing this for the good of the house and the good of the wall.
And I don't even think it's just Jon. I think it's Piper and Gren, and all of them, because like this is sort of the generation of the Night's Watch where there's division brought in with Rast and the others who eventually rebel against Mormont. So,
which is kind of cool because we always think about like that's the story that's being told here is the younger generation, Arya and Sansa and all them. And I never really thought about how that's occurring at the Wall as well, not just with Jon Snow, but with these same group of boys. Like they're all having that shit too.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a fun little chapter, a point of view chapter one day? Is little Pipar.
That'd be insane. Because like just this little group in here, these are generally good people here that are getting promoted, and so this sort of becomes Jon's little entourage.
Right.
And so these are sort of like. I mean, they're basically like Mormont's boys. Like they're like the Brotherhood Without Banners for Mormont, where they really I think this tenets here that he says here kind of stick with them all in different ways for different reasons, but. Mm-hmm. And then we get the motherfuckers like Rast.
Who are just fucking assholes. Yeah. And so he continues explaining that, debts are erased, but so should their loyalty to their pasts. They don't have houses anymore.
Yeah, even fall, as the sun sets and we face the gathering night, you shall take your vows. From that moment, you will be a sworn brother of the Night's Watch. Think carefully before saying our words, however. Once you've taken the black, there's no turning back. I love that quote.
So, I just kind of want to mention that's basically him for the most part saying, if you don't want to stick with us, let us know now so we can take you out back and kill you.
Yeah.
Because most of them, not all of them, like Sam could technically
choice.
Leave and go somewhere else.
So could John.
John as well, but the other boys, for the most part, I think...
were plucked out of dungeons.
Right,
yeah.
And so it's either... You don't have to say these words. We can take you out back and kill you now if you'd rather.
Yeah.
And
and he asks that. He asks if anyone wishes to leave. He says no one will judge you. And I think that's an open invitation for people like John and Sam.
Right.
Not fucking the ones that were arrested.
Like, peace.
But no one moves when he asks this. Everyone sits and he says, good. You may take your vows here with Sept and Celadar. And then he asks, do any of you keep the old gods? And John stands up and says, I do.
Of course, you got to be different.
Of course he does. And Mormont says, I expect you'll want to say your words before a heart tree as your uncle did. And John says, yes, my lord. And he thinks to himself that the seven had no meaning for him because the blood of the first men flowed in the veins of the Starks and essentially ties them to the old gods. So I think it's interesting because the Targaryens are pretty heavily tied with the seven.
Yeah.
And so he's denying that and saying, I have nothing to do with that. I've got the Starks.
Contradicting that line without realizing,
And so it says that Castle Black itself, because Pipar and them start murmuring.
Gren is sitting there saying, like, there's not a
I've never seen a Godswood.
And then, Pipar gives him, you wouldn't see it Arcs if it was a herd running past you, and they argue, but he's confirmed by Lord Commander that, no, there are not any hearts trees in here. There's not a Godswood.
But beyond the wall.
You have to go beyond the wall.
The haunted forest has a grove of weirwoods. And so Samuel Tarly stands at this point and asks if he can say his words before the heart tree as well. And Mormont asks him, does House Tarly keep the old gods too? And Sam squeaks out, no, my lord, because John knows the high officers frighten him.
Right,
Mormont most of all.
And he says that his house, his father, his father's fathers, and all the Tarlys have served and worshipped
in the light of the seven
for thousands of years. Mm-hmm. And Jeremy Riker asks, well, why would you forsake the gods of your father and your house?
Sam mic drop
moment. This is dope as shit. I love this moment.
Yeah, this is Sam. A great line.
The Night's Watch is my house now. The seven have never answered my prayers. Perhaps the old gods will.
Which immediately is someone we want on the wall. Like, he immediately has already accepted the Night's Watch as his house. Like, these are my brothers. I will protect this. Like, Sam is in it now.
I think that's why Mormont allows this Craven.
I think this right here confirms it.
Says, you know what? Yeah, you can go beyond the wall.
Yeah. I think this is Samuel Tarly's own sort of bravery here, is asking essentially, like, I'm going to ask for help somewhere else. Like, the seven, and knowing Samuel's life, I can imagine there were many nights where he was laying in bed praying for anything, praying to change himself, praying to change his father, praying to change his life. And so, the seven never answered. So
Mormont agrees to allow that and says that they've all been placed in an order as befits the Night's Watch needs and their strengths.
Yeah, and he takes the paper from
Bone Marsh
mm-hmm. and begins to read out everybody's new duties. And I basically
listed them all.
Oh, you listed them all?
Yeah, there's not many actually. So Halder goes to the Builders. Gren is a Ranger. Albet to Builders. Pip went to the Rangers. Sam to the Stewards. Methar to Rangers, Darian to Stewards, Toad to Rangers, and finally, John to the Stewards.
Yeah.
And it almost didn't register for John, what he was hearing.
There must be a mistake.
Yeah.
And he starts to rise to tell them there's been a mistake, but then he sees Sir Alistair studying him, his eyes shiny as 2 flakes of obsidian, and he knew.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
You know nothing.
You know nothing. He's wrong, and I find that really funny because he's so convinced in that anger and that teenage angst.
This is, and I'm gonna do it. But this is the Harry Potter and Snape moment where they've got this animosity. So immediately, Jon Snow, who can't really see what this is for what it is, he'll get explained and kicked in the ass here in a minute by Sam, but he can't see what this actually is, so he immediately thinks it's negative, and he looks to his enemy that he's made here. And Sir Alistair probably isn't pleased.
No, but he's happy about the fact that he's going to the Stewards.
Well, like, that's it. Like... So he's studying him, but he's knowing that he probably knows that he's going to be Commander Mormont's steward.
Right.
So he's probably not pleased about that, but at least so he's studying John's reaction. He had nothing to do with it, I'm sure.
And he sees John's pissed, and so he takes pleasure in it.
So, he's going to take pleasure in it. Exactly. So John is completely wrong here, and it's just that I immediately thought of Harry and Snape, where he looks up to the high table, and there's Snape fucking smirking, and he's like, oh, it's him. It's his fault. Fuck this guy. And wrong-o.
Mormont then excuses everybody, tells them all to get the fuck out, report to your firsts.
Yeah.
And
may all the gods preserve you, brothers. And basically he does the CSI Miami, puts on the sunglasses and fucking back in black. I hit the sand. So he leaves. Sir Alistair follows behind with a thin smile on his face, looking happier than John has ever seen him.
Which I don't think that he is.
No, I think it's
John.
It's a show for John. He knows he's twisting that knife.
Even if he's just a slight smirk, the happiest he's ever seen him is probably not hard to accomplish. Second, even if it was barely a smirk, John is taking that slight personally right now, so he's gonna assume it's the happiest
he's gonna blow
it up
been. And make it bigger than it actually is.
So Jeremy Riker calls out for the Rangers. And I like that Pip is
kind of dumbstruck.
He's almost scared, like that, and embarrassed, like, oh, John didn't get picked, but I did.
Yeah, he almost doesn't want to go without John.
He's kind of like watching him as he stands up. Like,
the builders gather with Yarwick, and they head out as well, leaving only the stewards. And John looks around.
So as well as Maester Aemon up on the back of the sept is still there.
Yeah, and John looks around in sick disbelief. Aemon's blind eyes are looking up into the sunlight that's streaking in that he can't see. Beside him sits Sam and Darian, and John thinks a fat boy, a singer, and him. And so Bowen Marsh tells them that Sam will assist Maester Aemon in the rookery and library. Chet is going to be moved to the kennels to look after the hounds.
Fuck you, Chet.
Poor Chet.
Should have opened the door with some more respect.
Sam will be taking his room to be closer to Maester Aemon, and he then says, I trust you will take good care of him. He's very old and very precious to us. Which
I like that.
I like
Maester
that
Aemon
line
is
as well.
precious to us.
Darren is being sent to Eastwatch to help with any merchant galleys that should be coming in, as his experience in the cities and dealing with that type of shit should help out there.
And I think they're also specifically thinking of the charisma from him being a singer.
Yeah.
Will help him to get those trade costs down.
Yeah, lower that shit down.
And so then Marsh turns to John, and he is just as pleased because he wasn't happy with the way he was getting talked to. Was it just Chet that was there with Mormont or Aemon when John was there?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Bowen turns to him and tells him that he will be serving.
Lord Commander Mormont has requested you as his personal steward, John. You'll sleep in a room beneath his chambers in the Lord Commander's tower. And John sharply asks, and what will my duties be? Will I serve the Lord Commander's meals, fasten his clothes, and fetch hot water for his bath? And Marsh frowns at John's tone and says, certainly, and run his messages, tend his fires, change his sheets and blankets daily, and do all else that the Lord Commander asks of you.
And John asks, what do you take me for, a servant? It sounds like Viserys.
Aemon bomb.
Yo. No, we took you for a man of Night's Watch, but perhaps we were wrong in that.
When Aemon's in the streets, there's just yak. So John has to stop himself from walking out being the little teenage.
Because he just got told. Yeah. So he actually asks if he can, is that all?
Well, he thinks to himself, and again, we get this ignorance of John, where he says, and he thinks in his head, was he supposed to churn butter and sew doublets like a girl all the rest of his days? So, like, he, without even, I think intentionally, just in his anger, he's attributing it like this is some punishment. Well, it's some lower station than he deserves.
It's for a soft person like Sam Tarly.
And so, yeah, he asks if he can go, and Marsh says, as you wish. And so Darren and Sam leave with him, all in silence. And outside, John looks up at the wall.
Rage!
John's rage was such that he would have smashed it all in an instant, and the world
John
be damned.
Smash!
So yeah, it's just he's
a
throwing
pissed
fit.
off kid.
Yeah. Sam is giddy, and he says, "John, don't you see what they're doing?" And John turns on him in a fury. "I see Sir Alistair's hand. That's all I see. He wanted to shame me, and he has." He doesn't say it quite as whiny as that, but that's how I imagine it.
I think he does. Yeah, it's funny because he bitches saying it's not fair.
Yeah.
And Darian, which I don't see at this point, your debt's wiped. You're already stuck at the wall forever. So there's no reason for him to lie.
Yeah.
And Darian says fair, like the woman, and he just tells a story. The woman waited for me, dragged me through her window. So basically, I believe that Darian got taken for raping.
Yeah.
And so what he's saying is, yo, she lied. Yeah. I didn't rape. She convinced me to do it, and yet here I am. You want to talk to me about fair?
And he's yelling at fair to Samuel Tarley, who was literally told by his father, "You can go to the wall, or I can kill you."
You chose to come here, and you gotta have the nice cozy room under the Lord Commander's room. Like, fuck you.
Yeah, because Darian first gets pissed and says that the stewards are good enough for the likes of Tarley and I, but not for Lord Snow. And that's when John fires back that he's a better rider and a better swordsman than any of you. And so that's when he gives it's not fair. Yeah. And so Darian fucking snorts and gets all pissed off and gives that story and then walks off. And Sam says that, there's no shame in being a steward. And John says, "You think I want to spend the rest of my life washing an old man's small clothes?" Which, immediately that lack of, the respect is just gone.
Well, and that's it. Sam immediately comes back with, that old man is the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. First. Yeah. First.
You'll be with him day and night. Yes, to pour his wine and wash his sheets, but also to attend him at meetings, squire for him in battle, and you'll be as close to him as his shadow. You'll know everything. You'll be a part of everything. And Marsh said that Mormont himself asked for you. And then Sam gives a little story here, a little anecdote. We're going to break it down. When I was little, my father insisted that I always attended him in the audience chamber whenever he held court. And later, he brought me to Highgarden when he went to bend the knee. He began bringing Dickon soon after. He no longer cared if I was there, so long as Dickon was. You see, he wanted his heir at his side, to watch and listen and learn from all he did. I bet that's why Mormont requested you, John. He wants to groom you for command. And, of course, John doesn't know how to react to this because he didn't think it through.
Yeah, and so now he's completely just taken back and thinks about how Ned used to do the exact same thing with Robb.
Yeah.
Have him come in and sit during certain meetings and watch how he governs and rules and interacts with the people.
Could Sam be right, he thinks, and then even a bastard can rise high in the Night's Watch, they said.
And then he bitches some more. I didn't ask for this.
I never asked for this!
And Sam with another fucking bombshell. None of us are here from asking.
Yeah, Sam, you're saying that to Sam, John. He had no choice. It was death or
finally
fear.
He gets hit, and he's feeling a little bit ashamed of himself.
And suddenly Jon Snow is ashamed. Craven or not, Samwell Tarly had found the courage to accept his fate like a man. John remembers what Uncle Benjamin had told him the last night that John had seen him alive. On the wall, a man gets only what he's earned. You're no ranger, John, only a green boy with the smell of summer still on you. And John thinks that he's heard it said, bastards grow up faster than other children. On the wall, you grew up or you died. When you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die. So it's a whole different game up here north. So John sighs deeply and says, "You have the right of it. I've been acting the boy.
I've been acting a fool.
Been acting a fool. Pity the fool."
So Sam, confirms that John will be actually saying his vows and staying with him. And it kind of just jumps to
John
that
smiles
afternoon.
And says, "The old gods will be expecting us."
Yeah.
Which is ominous to me.
Ominous as fuck.
Yeah, they set out late that afternoon, and it says that it was kind of weirdly worded.
I liked it.
In mine.
I don't know what you were.
But it said, nowhere along the wall was there a gate. So they had to go through the tunnel under the wall and through it, essentially. And it was just a weird word.
So, I think it's just meaning that there's no big
specific... doors that can just be opened, and here you go. But
through the whole wall.
Are you pulling up a passage?
Not yet. No, I was gonna just check that.
So it says, so they led their horses down a tunnel cut through the ice, cold and winding. 3 times iron bars blocked their way, and they had to stop while Bowen Marsh drew out his keys and unlocked the massive chains that secured them. John can feel the weight of the wall pushing down on him.
I think that's just a claustrophobic feeling that almost everybody ever is going to have walking through a fucking wall tunnel that massive.
Yeah, so he's pretty relieved when they emerge in the afternoon light on the north side of the wall. Finally north of the wall for the first time since the prologue.
As Sam enters out into the light, he kind of nervously asks if they think the wildlings will attack this close to the wall. No, they won't, right? They wouldn't dare. And John says, well, They never have before.
Never have.
So
John mounts up and whistles, calling Ghost to him, and Ghost comes loping out of the tunnel behind them, and Marsh asks, "Do you mean to take the beast?" And John says, "Yes, my lord," as Ghost lifts up his head and races off into the trees.
So
he
seemed to taste the air. In the blink of an eye, he was off. Do you think I think he's already heading straight there?
Yeah. I think
so also.
Immediately,
and John thinks once they enter into the woods that they've entered a whole new world. Like, it's just a completely different thing than right before they entered the forest. And he even thinks about how, like, he spent tons of time hunting and messing around in the woods out in the Wolf's Wood outside of Winterfell. And this wasn't too much different, and yet the feel of it was very different. And so I wrote down the page number so that I could get to this real fast. But I like this quote as he explains this feeling. Perhaps it was all in the knowing. They had ridden past the end of the world. Somehow that changed everything. Every shadow seemed darker, every sound more ominous. The trees pressed close and shut out the light of the setting sun. A thin crust of snow cracked beneath the hooves of their horses, with a sound like breaking bones. When the wind set the leaves to rustling, it was like a chilly finger tracing a path up John's spine. The wall was at their backs, and only the gods knew what lay ahead. I just, because when I read that, I thought of the chapter, or the John chapter, or maybe it was the Tyrion chapter early on, when they're both standing up at the edge of the world, up at the top of the wall, looking out at dark, and just only the gods know what lays out there. And granted, there's wildlings and magical stuff, but only, what's beyond that? Like, this is the edge of the world. It's fucking oppressive, it's creepy, and but it's not. Like, it's
normal. It's a story.
Yeah, and it's just the hype is all built up around.
No, there is a place north that should inspire that fear, but Bran's been there.
Yeah,
but
up at the heart of
the heart
always
of winter,
never winter. They're always winter, never winter.
The heart of never winter. So the sun is sinking below the trees when they arrive at their destination, a small clearing in the deep wood where 9 weirwood trees grew in a rough circle.
I like that. How impactful that is.
The Wolf's Wood had clusters of 2, maybe 3. A grove of 9 weirwoods is unheard of. 9 different faces carved into the trees staring inward, the ground covered in red leaves on top and black death underneath. Bowen Marsh commands them to leave their horses outside the circle. This is a sacred place, he says. We will not defile it.
So I did really like that whole blood red on top, black rot beneath. Yeah. Like, it's so imposing, especially after this ominous tone that was set as they entered the woods. Yeah. To have that, like, this blood red.
Well, it seems like it's the flip side of the coin here, where in the north you got the old gods and you've got some other darkness.
You got something else
that's up there, and so when they enter the grove, John does an intake of breath, and Sam is just fucking stunned, and he's turning to each face in turn, and he says, "They're watching us, the old gods." And so,
as John's kneeling, he says yes. Yeah. Like, and I just really thought that was interesting because he mentions how all 9 of them are different, but all of them are watching, and he just has that. I don't know. I just feel like he's more in touch with that kind of a presence, being a coward, because that's got that look. Whereas the stone statues are always the stone statues. These are fucking different trees. I also wanted to just point out that there's 9 of these motherfuckers in a half circle. So does 9 have anything?
Well, that was what I was trying to think, is because we've got the light of the 7.
Right.
And so it's 2 more than
That's
7.
what I was thinking, too.
I
So
don't
do you
know.
think that they're similar in representation? Where, like, I know that a lot of people will... Because technically, like, the 7 could just be 7 different faces of the one god of death.
Yeah.
Is it similar there, where the old gods just have 2 other faces that they have in there, in aspects of godhood or whatever?
I just think it's significantly powerful of a place, and so there was enough essence or magic, whatever, that they were able to grow here in such a powerful way. Because, and I also, again, it's impossible to know what Martin did and did not have planned, but I believe that this grove specifically will be coming up in Winds of Winter.
Do you think that this is where Cold Hands is
I think that this
converted?
is where Jon Snow will be resurrected. Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I think he's going to be brought north of the wall, while his body will be, I think, contained in the ice cell in the wall and kept warm there. I think he will be resurrected by Melisandre actually here at this grove.
That'd be pretty cool. That makes sense.
Varamir's been known to fuck around, and there's been some other instances here. But anyway, they kneel side by side, Sam and Jon, before the trees, and they say the words together as the last light faded in the west. And so I'm going to just read the Night's Watch vows here, because it says,
and gray day became black night.
Hear my words and bear witness to my vow, they recited, their voices filling the twilit grove. Night gathers, and now my watch begins. It shall not end until my death. I shall take no wife, hold no lands, father no children. I shall wear no crowns and win no glory. I shall live and die at my post. I am the sword in the darkness. I am the watcher on the walls. I am the fire that burns against the cold, the light that brings the dawn, the horn that wakes the sleepers, the shield that guards the realms of men. I pledge my life and my honor to the Night's Watch for this night and all nights to come. And the woods fall silent as they finish.
And as they felt the woods fall silent, Bowen Marsh says, "You knelt, boys. Now rise, men of the Night's Watch." And they do. Well, Jon does, and then Jon helps him. And everybody crowds around them, offering congratulations. And then the old forester, Dywyn, is the only one who's not cheering and celebrating. And he's like, I think we should start making our way back to the wall, because I don't like the smell of the night. Okay, buddy.
Well,
yeah, like, he's feeling something.
Ghost tasted the air.
Well, that's what and he thinks that, suddenly is what it says.
As soon
Suddenly,
as he says that,
Ghost is back.
Between 2 werewoods stalking forward with something black in his jaws.
And Jon notices now himself the similarities between the white-faced, red eyes ghost versus the weirwood trees.
Yeah.
As he is a 10th weirwood coming out of the woods.
Yeah.
And
Bowen Marsh asks, "What's he got there?" So Jon calls Ghost.
What you got there?
What you got there? And Jon calls Ghost over to him, and Ghost comes right over, and Sam inhales sharply. "Gods be good," Dywyn muttered. "That's a hand." "No, that's Wizard's chest." And that's where the chapter ends. So Ghost just ran up with a hand, which we will learn is actually of a... God, I can't remember who the corpse belongs to. I want to say it is the Night's Watchman.
Yeah, I forget right now.
And we know he will attack the Lord Commander. But so that was Jon's 6th chapter.
Yeah.
Of Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Do you have a inductee, inductor?
I'll give my inductee to Ghost, just because he immediately, like, I don't know. Just with the dire wolves, especially this reread, I've been watching them so close. Oh, excuse me. And so I think I just really love the way he comes loping out, and he's kind of derping around, much like Beric, I imagine.
Look at me, look what
and then
got.
Immediately he's like, "What the fuck is that?" Like White Walker? Okay, I'm on it. And he goes and handles some shit. Did he take this thing down? Like, was this thing coming, for them, doing their vows? And Ghost took it down, ripped its arm off, and came back to be like, "Hey,
because Ghost is silent,
around."
So it's not like he would make a bunch of noise if he was taking
So that's it. He could have fucked this thing up first, taken its arm in the attack, and then came back to Jon to be like, "Hey, fucking dead dude doing some shit.
Check
like,
what I found."
He might be back." So Ghost for being the goodest of boys. He's a good boy. Who's your inductee?
I'm giving mine to the old Forester Dywin, because he's apparently on that same level as Ghost. Like,
he's on the level.
There's some shit going down over here. We need to get back out there.
He's the guy who tastes dirt.
But I like that it said he was like the oldest grizzled veteran old Forester. But yeah, I just picture him like looking at the ground and tasting like a berry.
He was
and
also
being like, somebody died over there 37 years ago.
I thought it was a specific point to note that he was the only one not taking place in the congratulations and sort of the hand clap, like, because I just feel like he was on guard.
He was aware of
not being a dickhead, but just being like,
I don't think he's Alistair Thorne.
Like, there's something weird.
Exactly.
Like just kind of.
And so that's what I pictured it as, is that he was there. He was happy for like to be out there with the brothers, new members, all that shit, but he knew something was off. There's something strange.
We need some sentries.
And so, Dywin.
Yeah, I like it.
Which is the first time I've ever heard his name. But
samesies.
Yeah, so those are our thoughts on John 6.
Yeah.
If you have any inductees yourself or thoughts on the chapter, write us in. We could be reached all over. Or if you have inductees for the next chapter, which will be Ned 14. Eddard 14.
I believe Ned has... Two.
So then is he getting taken this chapter?
He gets taken. Yeah, Littlefinger will be doing the I did warn you not to trust me, this one.
So,
and then we have Arya after that.
Yeah, so I
think that's just Arya 4 or 3. I'm not 100% on Arya.
But. And I like that we're going Jon, Ned, Arya. And then it might be Tyrion? I don't remember. I'm not even going to pretend to know that next one.
I don't either.
But yeah, so write us in. We can be reached at our Gmail, withoutmannersbrotherhood@gmail.com. We're on Twitter. I'm on Twitter at mannerswithout. Zach is on with at carstark92.
Yeah.
We're on Instagram at withoutmanners.
Something like that.
Brotherhood Without. I don't know. And we're on Facebook, facebook.com/Brotherhood Podcast. Our Patreon, patreon.com/Without Manners. And all over the place.
If you go onto Apple Podcasts and leave us a rate and review, the old gods will forever smile upon you. So, I mean, that's just some incentive. If you're
and you get added into our weekly inductee list for doing that. Not a full-fledged member, but you get that weekly membership.
Get the weekly inductee.
See how you like it. Test out the facilities.
Take it for a test drive.
Take a couple trots on the treadmill in the corner.
Say hello to Lady Stoneheart. She'll just gurgle at you. It's kind of fucking terrifying, but,
It's weird.
If you need help peeing, she's great for that.
Yeah, she'll scare it right out. Write us in. We love hearing from you guys. We need to finish this off.
All right, guys. Next time we're reading. Who do we say?
We said it was Ned 14 like 6 seconds
Ned
ago.
14.
Vala de Harris.
Peace.
What's up, everybody? It's Nate here from Brotherhood Without Manners. I'm just going to sneak in and tell you really quick about this sweet app called Podcoin. If you listen to podcasts at all, especially Brotherhood Without Manners, all you have to do is download this app, download our podcast, put in the code Brotherhood, and you will get 300 coins. And you can spend those coins on all sorts of cool stuff. Gift cards, donating to charity, whatever. So give it a try. Let us know if you like it. We really enjoy using it for our podcast listening. You can get free stuff, so why not take advantage of something you already do?